All right, so in this video, the shortcut that I'm going to show you how I'm going to build out today is going to be a little bit of a challenge because it's going to force you to stretch your thinking because I'm pretty sure you're not going to need to use this shortcut in the way that I'm going to use it. But understand, you can definitely use this shortcut how you see fit to boost your productivity, going to your normal resources that you find yourself typing in all the time. So what am I talking about? This is what I'm talking about right here. If you look right here, this is an app on the Mac that's called Dash. Now, if we scroll down, you can see what Dash does. It allows us to have access to offline documentation. The cool thing about it is if we scroll down, it supports all these different coding languages. And if we scroll down even further, you can see we got Mac OS, Swift, we got the one that I'm using, which is JavaScript and Node.js. If we scroll down even further, you can see you got third-party documentation sources for Python. Now, none of these I would use right now except GitHub. Other than that, these wouldn't really apply to me, but I do want to dip my toe into Python because I heard it's a super easy language to learn. Plus, Python is all about automation. The other thing is you can see right here, these are all the different apps that you can integrate with plugins. So you are able to pull your documentation, which is great for me because I'm currently using WebStorm, which is an IDE. So I really, really like this app. And when I'm not on my Mac, I feel the pain of not being able to quickly look up something without having to go to the internet or YouTube or something like that and run the risk of getting distracted. So today I'm going to create a documentation app that allows me to have jumping off points, the exact documentation that I need at the exact time I need it. I'm also going to have a few other resources up in there because oftentimes if I'm reading the documentation and it's going over my head, I will jump over to YouTube to get a simplified version of it or open up ChatGPT to get a simplified version of it. Okay, so this is the Shortcuts app right here. We can take a look at it really quickly. And it's 100% free. It's baked into all your iOS devices. So if you accidentally deleted it, you can reinstall it. The only other app that I'm using inside of this shortcut, which honestly you don't need, but just in case you're curious about what text editor I'm using Runestone text editor, which is this one right here. All right, so those are the two apps you see. So first things first, we're going to come over here and I'm going to add this to the shared. So you'll be able to modify it how you see fit. So we're going to go up under shared and well, that's playground. I don't want playground. I wish when we get an update, they stop knocking my stuff out of alphabetical order. It's quite frustrating. So let's see right here, shared. All right, so we're going to hit the plus sign and I'm gonna call this docs because that's what I want mine to be. And I'm not gonna have this as shared because once I duplicate it, I'll create a shared. So over here, right here, you can see these are all the resources I need. You can see that this is the website we was just at, which is Dash. I put this as a reference, which I would like something like this. I know I won't be able to get it, but what I will be able to do is create something that allows me to have jumping off points. So my documentation that I need is going to be for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, the command line, Node.js, GitHub, and Raspberry Pi. And the command line is basically Linux. I probably should have put Linux, but it's fine like that. And then over here, you can see it says other resources, which is WebMDN and W3 School. And then you can see my video resources is going to be Udemy and YouTube. More so Udemy than it is YouTube. But I put YouTube just because I try to stay off YouTube because I easily get distracted and lose a lot of time. So I try to stay off YouTube. So the way we're going to build this out is really easy. We're going to start with a comment. And this right here, I can just put over here. So I'm just going to say copy right here. And I'm going to say version 0.1. And this is the goal of this shortcut, which is right here. And the goal is just basically for me to be able to get what I need when I need it and keep me in flow without getting lost. So now that we have that, the first things first, I'm going to want to add in a choose from menu. So I'm going to go with this, and then I'm going to have, what would you like? Now, we really have to consider something. when we doing this, when we're doing shortcuts like this, honestly, like I'm doing this shortcut off the cuff. Normally I'll already built it out, but I thought because this one is fairly simple, it'd be cool for you to see how I go about structuring it and figuring out the things I need to figure out as we go. However, usually I have what's called shortcut blocks, and shortcut blocks are just basically smaller pockets of shortcuts that you create and you pull them into bigger shortcuts. More times than not, that's the best way to do it. That's the best way to run your shortcuts because you're less likely to run into something going wrong. And the bigger you make your shortcuts and the more complex you make your shortcuts, well, the more likely there is for something to go wrong. And with me being on a beta right now, that can be more true. So I'm going to do a choose from menu, but just understand that if you wanted to do it in shortcut blocks, you can. All right. So basically what my menu is going to be is these right here. So you got documentation, you got other resources, and you got video resources. So the first one is going to be documentation. So I'm going to just copy that, and I wrote it out so it'll make my editing life a lot easier versus me having to sit here and cut out a lot of stuff. I'm going to actually do web. Well, let's do other resources next. And I'm going to paste this right here. But I don't think I wanted to say other resources. I just wanted to say resources. And then after that, for this one, I'm going to have it say video resources. And I'm going to hit the green button to bring that up. And it's going to say video resources. So now we just want to fill these out. All right. So within this, we have an option now. We can come out here and we can say, let's run these as shortcuts. You know what? I'm going to run these as shortcut blocks. And the reason why is because honestly, it's going to make life much easier and it's going to allow this not to become unwieldy. So we're going to stop right here with this specific shortcut and we're going to go create these smaller shortcuts that we need to be able to pull into here. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so we're going to back up out of here. And the first one we're going to do is going to be documentation. So I'm going to just say documentation. Okay, so first things first, we're going to do a choose from menu. There we go. And we're going to say, what docs do you need? Question mark. All right, so first one is going to be HTML. HTML isn't like a coding language, but I need it because sometimes in JavaScript, they be wanting you to output stuff in HTML. So I want to know more about HTML. CSS is definitely worth learning because a lot of apps allow you to change up the look and feel of that app using CSS. So it's definitely worth it. I'm going to do Linux instead of the command line. I'm going to do Node.js or Node.js. I'm going to say GitHub. And then I'm going to do Raspberry Pi. We have some cool stuff coming out for Raspberry Pi, so I want to make sure you're checking in. Node.js, I'm actually going to move it up there with JavaScript since they go hand in hand. So my primary language that I'm learning right now is JavaScript because I want to learn how to be able to write my own scripts. Not so much to learn how to be a coder, but just write like, you know, maybe 100-word line script if need be. But that's what I want to do. All right, next thing is that's it for documentation. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the see if I have it in my favorites already, and I do not. All right, so we're gonna go back out here. I'm gonna say open web page, or we could actually just go Safari, click on Safari, and let's see here. We want to open URL, which is right here. So what I'm gonna do for open URL, I'm just going to grab one and drop one into each one of these because that's what I need. So I need it in each one of these. I'm going to open URL for Node.js. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to open URL for Linux. I'm going to open URL for GitHub. I'm going to open URL for Raspberry Pi. So now what I want to do is I actually want to pull up Safari. I'm going to just do it right here. And we can actually change the size of it to this right here. And the first one is going to be HTML docs. Now I probably could do documentation, but I kind of feel like it know what I mean when I say docs, not a robot. Okay, and this is coming from W3 School. Let's see, getting started. I'm gonna do MDN, which is right here. So if I close that up, HTML table structure. All right, so I'm gonna go back out and I'm actually gonna go with W3 school because with this, I'm just looking for, this is what I'm looking for right here. I just wanna know like what tags can I use, what features, like these are basically features, what can I use them and how do they work and are they still supported or not. So this right here for HTML elements reference is what I need. So I would just come up here, copy this, and I would come over to HTML. I would paste it in, I would say enter. Same thing with CSS. I would step back for W3 school. Let's see if I can just change this up and make it CSS. Now, CSS dev docs, I'm gonna exit out of there. And we can see right here, displays, extensions, filters, add media. This is definitely what I want. All right, so I want this one right here. So I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna paste that URL. I'm gonna say enter. Next, we want JavaScript. So we're gonna say JavaScript documentation. So we're gonna click on JavaScript reference. And this is what I want right here. Basically, it's going to give me the functions, the fundamentals. It basically gives me everything I need to know, an array, what it is. And I like how it got it structured out. So this is the one I want right here. So I'm going to cut this. And for JavaScript, which is right here, I'm going to paste it in right there. Next one is going to be Node.js because I need that reference as well. So I'm going to say Node.js docs. And I'm gonna click right here and grab this. And this right here is a reference for Node.js. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna say cut. I'm gonna paste it in. Next, I'm gonna do Linux. I'm gonna say Linux docs. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. You can see it over here. You can see the what is command, man command, shutdown command, history command. Yep, this is what I'm looking for right here. So I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna copy it and I'm gonna paste it here because this gives me the reference. So who is just basically gonna say who is this computer, but it actually shows, when you click on it, you can see it shows you what is gonna output. So I like it. And clear, you can use that to clear terminal. So that's pretty good. So next one is GitHub. So I'm gonna jump over to GitHub. So I'm just gonna click right here for Git documentation. And let's see here, reference, setup, config. Yep, this is what I want right here. So I'll be able to click on Git and it'll jump me right into it and show me everything I can use with it. That is amazing. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna paste it, hit enter. And the last one is Raspberry Pi, which honestly, I don't know if they have one for Raspberry Pi since this is more of an operating system. But let's see, Raspberry Pi docs. Okay, seems like they do. Getting started, Raspberry Pi OS, configuration, the Linux kernel. Now you see why I want to learn Linux. Everything comes back to Linux. Let's see here. Actually, I think it would make sense for me to use this whole thing because honestly, I don't know what problem I'm gonna run into, and it seems like this is the jumping off point for any issue you may have. So I'm gonna use this whole thing and I'm gonna just drop it in. With this one, it'll take me a few clicks to get to wherever I need to be, but honestly, in this specific case, it's worth it. So now I'm gonna push that back over. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say done. I can come back over here and I could say run shortcut. I could drop this up in there. I'm gonna do another run shortcut. I'm gonna drop it right here. Probably be faster if I just right click and duplicate. And I'm gonna drop this one right here. This one is gonna be documentation. So this is gonna run documentation when I click on that one. Now we need to go do these two. So we're gonna pull this up out of here. We're gonna put Roomstone back. Now that it's back over there, we can come back out of here and we can do our next one, which is other resources. Now, the cool thing about it is we can always add to this as we see fit. So documentation, we can add to documentation and we can take away from documentation. We're not limited in it. So we're gonna just say rename. And did I put other resources or did I just put web resources? Let's see. Let's go back really quickly and see. I'm gonna go back over to docs. Okay, we just put resources. I'll step back up out of there and we're gonna hit the plus sign again and we're gonna say resource. Gonna hit enter. You already know what we need. A choose from menu. Choose from menu, which is right here. So this one is what resource would you like? All right, and since we only got two right here, which is web MDN and W3 School. And I feel like it should be one more. I know it should be one more. It should be some form right here. Maybe, I don't know what it's going to be right now, but I'm going to leave that right there. And first things first, we're going to go get WebMD in. So if we come back over to WebMDN, we can hit enter. I don't know why I keep doing this, but I'm going to click that I'm not a robot. And this is what we want right here. This will bring us to the home page, and I'm able to jump off wherever I need to go to, as you can see. And then you can see the guides. And now we're back over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say open URL. I want to make sure that this is the web. Yes, it is. All right, so you can see right now, Shortcuts is acting funny. So when it act like this, basically all I do is just close it out. So I'm just going to close it out. And then after that, I'm going to come back into it. I'm going to pull up, hold the app, put it to the side. So that way it'll be where I want it to be, resize it. And now I'm going to navigate back over to where I was at. All right, so here we are back at the resource one. We can click into it. And now I could try that one more time. Open URL, and it should exactly. Now it's doing what it's supposed to do. We can right click, duplicate, or if you don't have right click, you can just hold your finger over this icon right here, and it'll give you the same menu. We could drop right there. There we go. So now I can just Command V, pop that in for WebMDN. I'm going to actually come back over to the internet. Before I do that, I want to see what is it, W3 School. And what I'm doing is I'm holding Command and I'm pressing Tab. That's what I'm doing to get this window, and I'm keeping my finger on Command and I'm just pressing Tab, and I'm letting it go when I'm on the icon that I want. Now what I want to do is W3 School, which is right here. So I'm actually going to copy this, Command Tab, back over to it, and I'm going to come to URL, Command V, enter. Then I want to Command Tab one more time, back over to Safari, and I want to do a quick search for coding forums. Okay, so after a little bit of searching, I think the best one for me is going to be Stack Overflow. I feel like they give the best answers just based on the little short research I did right quick. So I'm going to link this to Stack Overflow. Now, doesn't mean I won't add in more, because I mean, if I find out that they, rude or something like that, then I'll definitely swap out to something else. But right now it's going to be Stack Overflow. And that's it for this one. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave out of here, and we're gonna just hit the plus symbol just because that was really short. We're gonna just keep going. And this one is going to be named Video Resources. All right, choose from menu. And for this one, we're gonna say which. So we're gonna have this one set up for Udemy, and we're gonna have this one set up for YouTube. All right. And we can always come in and add more as we need. I'm gonna say open URL. Then I'm gonna just duplicate this right here. And we already know https://. Now for YouTube, technically, we can make YouTube a little bit more sophisticated. So what we can do is we can go to search. We can go to web search. So search web, and we're gonna drop that in for YouTube, and we're gonna drop in YouTube name, and then for the text, it's gonna be ask each time. What this is gonna allow us to do is bypass YouTube home page and instantly take us to whatever we search for. I'll show you an example in just a second. The next one is going to be Udemy. So let's go over to Udemy really quickly. I know I should have known that URL, but honestly, I did not. You don't be knowing if it's .app.io or what. All right, so now that that's done, we can come back over here to our documentation, not to our documentation, but to our docs. And we can come over here, and for our resource, we can type in resource. And we know we want this to be the resource one, and we know we want this one to be video resource. And our shortcut is complete. All we have to do is just test it. How's it going? Will here. And on this channel, I teach you how to leverage automation and technology to boost your productivity and make creating content effortless. Now, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Let's get back to automation. All right, so we're gonna just test out our shortcut. We're gonna hit play, and you can see it's doing what we wanted to do, but I don't like this right here, so I'm gonna leave out, and really quickly, I'm gonna delete that. Now, I just want to make sure it's not showing when run. So I'm going to click play again. I like that. And if we want to take it a step further, what we could do is we can click on the globe. And for me, I can add in paper, or I could say docs. So let's see, I can do this one for documentation. For resources, I can hit the globe again, do web, how about internet. Okay, let's just do world. There we go. And then for this one, I can do globe again and do video. And there we go. Now it makes it look a little bit better and it's easier to identify it. So now when I hit play, you can instantly identify each one without having to really read it. You can glance. So we're going to do, I think we're going to do video resources. I'm going to say allow. We're going to do Udemy. It's going to ask, I'm sorry, we're going to do YouTube. It's going to ask me for an input. I'm going to just say, we're going to say Linux command line basics. I'm going to say done. I'm going to say allow, and you can see it opened me up directly to YouTube, and it put me directly into that search, as you can see, which is what we wanted it to do. If we go back over to shortcuts, we can click play again. We can say documentation, and you can see I got access to all of them. So if I'm stuck on JavaScript, I can say JavaScript. It's going to bring me directly to JavaScript, and then I can look through here and see, okay, what am I stuck on? Is it a function? Is it a variable? What are the data types? What is an array? I could do all that, have it break it down to me. And if I'm still stuck, let's say I'm stuck on, let's see, let's step back for a better example. All right, so we're going to say error column number, copy. Then I'm going to say dot, I'm going to say enter. We're going to click on it, say video resource. I'm going to say YouTube. I'm going to say, what does this mean? I'm going to paste it in, and I'm going to say done. And now you can see it answers my question. It brings me, this time it brought me to the web, but you can see right here it says, what does this mean? And you can see I get a direct answer to the specific thing that I'm asking for. And this is what I was missing. So this is going to make my life a lot easier. Now, if we close that out, we can close out of that one too, come back over here. And these three is what's powering this. So as long as you set it up the way you say me set it up, you can install these three. And when you open them up, you can literally go up in here and change out these URLs to whatever you want it to be. I could have done this. Well, no, I wouldn't have been able to do a search the web for all of these. I had to do an open URL because I wanted to open up a specific URL. But if you wanted to do, let's say you wanted to do it on one shortcut, the way you would have done that, just in case you're curious, again. Okay, so really quickly, I wanted to show you, this is the other way you could have done it, which is having everything in one. Now I got these collapsed. I can uncollapse them if you want to see it expand it. You can just right click and click on expand. I had them collapsed to make it easier, but basically it is literally a choose from menu inside up under element 1. And it's the exact same thing we did as far as running individual shortcut blocks. Instead of having them all right here, we had them scattered out to make it easier for the shortcut. But we definitely can have them all up in here, and based on which number we pick would jump down to which section and it would run that. Personally, for me, I like it better using shortcut blocks because I feel like that's the safer way to go, but this is another way to be able to do it. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give me a thumbs up. If you like this video and you haven't watched how I set up my dot, you're gonna love that video. You can watch that one right here. Click this video to watch it. Till next time, later.